So, thank you.
Those are the ones we approved.
Seriously, one letter, like one number, so you're so good. Cool, all right, so, hi. If we could call the meeting to order, please, at 6:01 on this Wednesday, February 15th, 2023, with a roll call, please. Oh, wait.
Denise Jones,
Yes.
Michael Allmiller, Rachel Merrickwin,
Yes.
Judy Rayson,
Yes.
Kim Leonard, yes, Claudia Parker, absent, Colleen Clemzak,
Yes,
everyone is here.
great. If we could stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So we have the smallest possible change of the agenda, and I need to, there's approving the first reading, there's like two numbers that we won't be approving because they apply to the high school. But I have to say that publicly because it is a change to the agenda. So we will not be, approving 6300 and 6310. First or second reading, that's the only change to the agenda.
Oh, slow your roll.
I know. If anyone else has a change, please let me know. Otherwise, if I could have a first
What are we at? Where is it?
to approve the agenda with that minor change.
Under policy?
On
Policy number.
action item B and C is to approve first and second reading. And we'll have to change 6.6300 and 6310. They apply to the high school.
Gotcha.
Thank you. So if I could have a first.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda with the minor change.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. And a roll call, please.
Denise Jones,
Yes.
Kim Leonard, yes, Claudia Parker,
Yes.
Judy Rayson,
Yes.
Michael Allmiller,
Okay.
Rachel Merrickwin,
Yes.
Colleen Clemzak.
Yes, please.
Motion is passed.
Cool. Staff reports.
Okay, we're gonna start off on a high note, so I'd like to welcome Dr. Vanek to introduce, I'm gonna call her a celebrity to the audience.
Good evening, everyone. So since 1970, the Illinois State Board of Education has sponsored the Those Who Excel and Teacher of the Year program to honor educators who have made significant contributions to our state's public and non-public elementary and secondary schools. Awards are presented in 7 categories, including classroom teachers, early career educators, school administrators, student support personnel, educational service personnel, community volunteers, and teams. So this year, I'm very excited to announce that a staff member from District 124 was a winner of one of the awards. I just want to congratulate Leslie Mannion, who won an award of meritorious service in the student support personnel category. So Ms. Mannion does an exceptional job as a speech pathologist at Northwest. Her students consistently make gains and meet their IEP and MTSS goals. She proactively has put things in place where she sees a need in the school. For instance, she saw a trend in the data that kindergarten students needed additional practice with literacy skills, so she found a program that provided that additional opportunities for our students to practice within the classroom. She is also a leader within the school. She was an educational assistant before we had assistant principals in the district. And even without the title, she still is a leader within the building. She helps chair the building leadership team in the school and helps prepare agenda items for the team. She also serves in her free time as the building rep for the union as well as the union president. She helps find common ground and common sense solutions when needed, and she is a support to her colleagues in the building and seeks to grow the education profession. So this year alone, she has mentored 2 new special education teachers to the building and hosted a student intern as well. She serves on our social committee for the school and organized events such as the Autism Speaks Walk in downtown Chicago, having a group of us go, and having dinner a few years ago, having some staff make dinner at the local Ronald McDonald House in Oak Lawn. So she's willing to help out where is needed in the school. She has managed student behavior in the lunchroom, helped with restorative practices with detention, and volunteered for our special nights, such as our cultural night. And I could go on, but I think you can see that she does a great job for our district, so I just want to congratulate her on winning the award.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dr. Bannock, and I have had the pleasure of working with Leslie, and she is absolutely wonderful to work alongside too, and just does an excellent job meeting the needs of our kids. So I'm honored to give her this award tonight as well, and we would love to take a picture with you. And Dr. Bannock, if you could please join us.
This is starting off on a high note
This is-
and with a photo.
Everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Scooch in.
Nice.
And you get to go to a banquet, don't you?
I think so.
Thank you.
Well
Congratulations, Leslie.
Congratulations. And because she's the teacher of the year, she doesn't have to stay for the board meeting.
Well, she can go home if she so chooses, of course.
She gets the night off.
She could sneak out.
That's amazing. So congratulations to you. You've worked really hard. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next up on our agenda is we have some end of year activities and graduation updates from Dr. Sampillo. What are those fun activities?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Good.
So we are there. We are looking ahead for our class of 2023 and all the fun activities that are coming up. Just want to share the dates with you. Answer any questions that you have. As you can see, May 1st, we're going to Springfield. So we started a process of that, and I give the teachers credit for that. That's a lot to put together and to organize and to supervise, and they want to do it. They came to us a couple of weeks ago, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I honestly had no idea that they were really gonna do that. And they said, hey, we wanna do this spring, and I guess there's, they used to go in the past with
Yes,
COVID and
that's a
everything,
great
and they
trip.
wanna bring it back. You don't always get that, so I give our 8th grade staff credit for wanting to do that. May 16th, our NJHS ceremony for our new NJHS members, so that's coming up on May 16th. May 19th is the dinner dance. More details to come with that, but I guess that's that'll be a really big event for our kids, and and being new here, I'm hearing how dressed up they get and how it's a big event, so that'll be exciting. May 26th, our 8th grade awards assembly will be taking place. May 30th, they are going to Great America. So again, kudos to the 8th grade teachers. They're gonna go to Springfield and they're gonna go to Great America, and they're
All in 1 month.
all in 1 month. God bless them. Yeah, so that's awesome. Then we're gonna do graduation practice. Looks like it's gonna be happening here or at Central. Students, that's actually May 31st is the last day of school for our 8th graders. And then June 1st is graduation, and it will be taking place at St. Xavier University at the Shannon Center, 8th grade promotion, which will be great. We did a tour to check it out. It's gonna be pretty exciting. I think we're gonna like it, and we're able to expand out to inviting 5 family members per student, so it'll make for a good size, good group, and be interesting, a little nervous, but obviously, because that's a big venue, but we'll get it done. We'll get it done. And and again, I've met with the 8th grade teachers already, and they've talked about that, they have a good system in place, to make sure things go as smooth as possible.
Dr. Sampillo is actively looking for the graduation promotion booklets, right?
Yes.
Just to prepare. I know he's on top of it.
Yes, absolutely. So, any questions? Just keep our 8th grade staff in your thoughts. Enter this latter part. Keep them
Well,
in your
that
thoughts.
Springfield trip is amazing. Have you ever went on the trip as?
I have done it at
in
couple other schools.
Yeah, it's a
so.
pretty amazing
It
trip
is
for the
cool.
kids, so I'm glad that they're doing it,
Yeah,
and
me too.
it'll be a great day, so I'm grateful that the teachers wanna take them. It's a long day.
It is, but.
It's a Monday.
It is on a Monday. It is on a Monday.
Couldn't do Tuesdays, so like late start Wednesday.
It's great, cause it gives a lot of kids the opportunity to go
Yeah.
out of the neighborhood a lot of
Yes,
times. They don't get a chance to do that too
It's
often, so
very
that's always
exciting.
exciting and wonderful. But yeah, definitely keep the 8th grade teachers in your thoughts. They've worked hard this year with our crew to establish good connections and good relationships and to make a good experience for them. But they are 8th graders and they've hit 8th grade itis
Itis,
probably
mhm.
earlier than we would like, and we're starting to see that. So we're, problem solving, thinking creative ways to kind of keep that, the positive connections going and stuff like that, but they're right, they're,
Well, May will be dangling over their heads for like opportunities to have a lot of fun, so hopefully
right,
they'll get that and.
so,
Absolutely.
all right.
All right,
Thank you.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, that's exciting.
Okay, our next update is going to be from Miss Haley Vermeer and myself, and we're gonna start with Haley. We recently had a diversity, equity, and inclusion community listening tour. And we had 2 board members that were also present, so she's gonna share out on that for us.
Good evening. So you may remember from the December board meeting that the Equity Action Plan has 5 strands, and one of those is community as agency, family and community as agency. So our goal within that strand is really to advance the work of equity, inclusion, and diversity, and make that connection with our community and with our families. And so we had our first event on January 18th, and that event really was a listening tour. So we had some guided questions, and we really just wanted to hear kind of feedback from families and community members in terms of how they thought kind of what our strengths are and our areas of growth were as a district in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we had some key takeaways, and one of those being to increase consistency between the schools with this work. And so they saw that some schools may do a little bit more than others. So for the schools to kind of just be in more frequent communication about what they're doing and to have more consistency between the schools. Another piece of feedback was to continue to celebrate our successes around diversity, equity, and inclusion. So to be proactive about sharing pictures and just in our newsletters if we're promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion. The parents wanted to have just some more transparency and clear communication about what is being taught and how diversity, equity, and inclusion impacts what we're teaching and learning within the district. And then ultimately, I think it was just a great opportunity to provide an opportunity to hear different perspectives and to just talk with each other. And so they would like to just continue to have more opportunities for us to be able to hear different perspectives. So in terms of our next steps, our committee is taking that information kind of back to the larger team, and we are going to be part of the We Connect webinar series in April with Dr. Woodland. And then also we're going to host another community resource fair / parent meeting that will be kind of in the later spring. So overall, it was a great opportunity just to connect with people.
Dr. Newman used to do the diversity dinner. Are we gonna do
Yeah,
that
he
again
did.
this year? Any talks?
She wouldn't know
It
what
was
that is, she wasn't
scheduled-
here.
It was scheduled for April of 2020, and I
Okay.
think we all know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think we could take that
April of
feedback back.
2020?
Yeah.
So they had a diversity, like a
Yeah,
celebration of
dinner.
all different,
Yeah, that
and
was
so
great.
all different foods, ethnicities, and then, so when you came in, you were given a number, so to speak,
Okay.
and like, so if I had me and my husband and my
Yeah.
daughter, none of us sat together, we all sat at different tables.
cool.
And
Yeah.
and that was the purpose, is to, get to know other people, like, the
That
high
you
s-
normally wouldn't be with.
high school staff was actually there was quite a few high
Yeah.
school department head staff that were there, so like if 8th graders were there, they could mingle with them, and yeah, it was a really, so yeah, they had different foods, it was held in our cafeteria in the basement, it was really a nice, I think we only had one.
No.
Did we have more than one? I only went to
Definitely
one.
had two.
So then there was two, yeah, I didn't think, yeah, so there was
Yeah.
2 of them, they were very.
One was in the basement, and then the other one was actually in the gym.
Nice.
I love this. This is one of the things that I had petitioned for. These are all in all the schools.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, I'm gonna speak to that next, but
Okay, great.
I will definitely make a note of diversity, a diversity dinner and bring that back to the administrative team. We have a meeting tomorrow to determine how we can move forward with that.
Awesome.
So that leads us to our next point. So if you recall, I led and facilitated the systems strand, and one of the things that we determined was that it was essential for us to define diversity, equity, and inclusion, for us to have a cohesive message that we are all going to commit to. So this Friday, in our Institute Day, we have an outside presenter that's coming back to support our teachers. And I'm gonna be introducing our definition of terms to the entire staff so that they're aware of this. And every single staff member will receive this handout for them to be present and know what our definitions are that we're collectively committed to from our equity action plan. The next step with this is to really start sharing it with our community, so for them to understand that this is also a commitment that we've embarked on, and for them to ensure that we have a connection to our glossary of terms that's still being defined in our system strand. So the front has our terms and the back is what we're committed to in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's tied to, again, our strategic plan. And Patricia is actually gonna talk about some recruitment efforts that we're going down as well.
So you're gonna put this with your newsletter, is it going on the perspective, like how are you giving it to the community?
So we're actually going to be, well, there's two ways. So Patricia's gonna talk tonight about our website for recruitment and retention. I picture this being everywhere, truthfully, so that we again can commit to what we've said we've defined it as. And also, we're building out a website, like a landing page for all of our diversity, equity, and inclusion work.
Good job.
So if you come, actually Curtis Hill's gonna be here
I
on
am
Friday.
gonna come.
Great,
There's
great.
gonna be a special guest with me. Can
Great.
you imagine who that's gonna be?
So yes, Curtis Hill, he's our presenter, he was here early fall. He will be back on Friday from 8:30 to 10, and that's a requirement of all staff. Just spoke with him today, and his message is really about a culture of belonging. So if you look at our definition of inclusion, it's really this commitment to an environment of inclusive practices that is, of course, critical to our success for all.
What time is it again on Friday?
8:30.
Okay.
And we're going right into curriculum work.
Is there no school Friday?
Where is
There's no
Dr.
school on Friday.
Where is Dr. Carlson
I'm
today?
kind of, yeah.
Yes,
She
I'm-
was
I'm day by
unable
day.
to make it tonight.
I have school.
They do not have, is that what you asked?
Yeah, I'm like,
The
the
kids
kids.
do not have school on Friday. It is an institute day.
So am I. I have an institute day. Maybe I'll come.
Okay, great. Yes, you
Yeah.
should.
Yeah, you can sit by me.
What?
So you can sit by me.
All right. Oh, Patricia is next. Look at that. So I am really excited to introduce this topic. This has been like a brainchild, I think, of mine and Michael's actually for some time. So this concept of really what do we do in terms of recruiting and retaining staff and making sure we're really being transparent with our community and those who are wanting to join our team. I believe that Evergreen Park is so special, and it's really about sharing our story and making sure everyone understands what we can offer to our students and to the people that work with us and work for us.
I love that picture. That is so cute.
Oh, just wait until you see the website. I'm so excited to watch
So
it.
snazzy.
It's so
It does look
snazzy,
so
and
cute.
it's called a microsite, and Patricia is gonna introduce it for us.
Yeah, it is super exciting. So Jenna, more importantly than myself, has been working with Cal, our marketing communications person, and he is amazing. He's created what's called a microsite, and microsites are individual pages. They're separate and a standalone from our general website that we have, but they're focused, and this one is focused on recruitment. Whew. And it is super amazing. They've added some things that I didn't even recognize in the microsite. So it describes how we stand out, more specifically in our benefits, how we stand out in how we relate to the community, and how within our school setting, we are a community within ourselves. And it also speaks to information that talks about DEI, diversity, inclusion, and equity as well. And so the microsite is going to be up maybe in the next,
No, we're ready to launch.
we're almost ready to
Yes.
launch.
You sent us the
real
pilot,
soon.
I saw it.
Yes.
The biggest highlight of this, which I just love, and I know you will too, are the testimonies.
Yes.
They're testimonies from our own employees, paraprofessionals, some of our support staff, teachers, who are speaking to, clarify why this is the
A
place
great
to
place
be
to work.
and why we are the employer of choice. So we're real excited about it. The site will be linked to the district homepage so that everyone looking for employment will have easy access to it. And then it'll connect them to the site where they actually apply for the jobs, and they'll see the list of jobs. So it's a really great thing coming. It really matches our regular website. But it pulls in all this information that people normally ask when they say, why should I consider coming here?
Sure.
So it's really great, so.
Are those our
I'm real
kids
excited
in
to-
those pictures?
To launch it.
Yes, those are all of our kids. We did brand new pictures. And I
Yeah.
think it was really important just to do like a big update refresh so that we can really publicize our students, because that's the most important thing.
It's a big deal. And we'll be stealing a lot of content for our virtual job fairs coming up. You know, creating our booths, so we have one coming up March 7th, and we have one coming up in June. And so what he's done to make it what it is and what we truly are is just amazing, so real excited about it, so. Any questions?
Yes, I wanted to know, we talked about reaching out to some of the historical Black colleges and
Mhm.
universities, some of our co-ops. So how's that been coming?
I am just now embarking on the historical Black colleges. I've got several on my list, from Fisk to Tennessee State to all of the others, and you're right. I'm having a hard time getting anyone to actually connect with me specifically, but I am working on a tool that I use for local ones that we used here. I did work for a few positions we filled. I created just this one page with information. I'm trying to do the same thing and connect with the people who would actually see it at each of the historically Black colleges. So, and you're right, so that we can pull, there are a lot of people who come back to their hometowns, like I did, and want to seek positions in the fields that they're in. So yes, it is definitely a project that I just started, based on everything that's happening in that regard. But yes, I've already started to reach out, but I think I have to do the same thing I've done with some of the universities locally here,
Sure.
and that's create the pages.
You know what,
Yeah.
another great option could be Greek fraternities and sororities.
That's a good
You could
idea.
try
That's a
that.
very good idea, actually. That's a
Yeah.
wonderful idea,
Thank you.
actually. Thank you, that
There's
is a great
service
idea.
fraternities.
You know what other one we
Absolutely.
reached?
Right,
We,
like in the education.
guess what is very, not traditional and has fortified us one or two candidates? You couldn't guess.
I can
Churches.
guess.
Oh,
Yeah, churches.
Yes.
So they've allowed us to post on there. Lisa's been gracious enough to research some of the ones just local right here.
Right.
They've allowed us to post. And it, we've got one or two candidates that we've considered out of it, so.
well, we're on our way.
I know, untraditional is the way now, so, and I promise, I will follow up with you on the HBCUs. It's very much priority on my list, it is. I just need time, just time. Any other questions?
No, actually, Dan, can you click on the link so I could show a couple of different things, or would I really be throwing you off?
Let's see.
If not, that's totally okay. So if you could just click on why choose D124, and it just specifies here's, again, a connected community, find what sets us apart, why join our team, higher salaries, competitive benefits, professional development, class size, clearly. I love the fact, this was what drew me to Evergreen Park too, guys, our low class size. We're committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think it's important for everyone to know that we are committed to that. Our community supports, because we have a ton of community supports that is not common, and then we specify our non-certified positions as well. So that's just a couple of highlights, but we will be making it live in the very near future, and I am excited to launch that.
That looks good. That's a lot of hard work.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's exciting.
Well done, that's
Yeah.
very cool.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Good job.
Nice.
All right, so Dr. Carlson was unable to make it this evening, and next on the agenda is Evergreen Reads. So I am going to, Christina is talking about Evergreen Reads. Thank you so much.
Is this gonna be the big reveal?
Ready. Hello, I'm on behalf of Angela. She couldn't make it. So Evergreen Reads is running from, it's up there, good. February 27th to the 31st, and we cannot reveal the title. It's a secret, I'm sorry. I was told. Cannot reveal, it'll be announced at the end of next week. They're doing a daily trivia every day next week as a lead up kind of get everyone excited. They're going to give away books for a first come, first served basis, and they could pick it up at each school's main office. So free books, drawings, trivia, and then we have in-school activities for each grade level specific. Angela has all this ready, okay? And then there's family activities as well to involve the community and bring everyone in, so. If you have any questions, please email Angela.
It was fun, wasn't it?
Perfect.
Yes. Any questions I could relate back to her?
They've been such great books.
Yeah,
They've
and
just-
she's like, don't tell them, I'm like, okay.
They have
I don't even know
been,
what
I
it
just
is.
read Wish Tree. I just, in like half an hour, I read it again, and I was like, that was a fantastic book.
Yeah, and it
And that
just
was her evergreen
encourages
reads.
reading, just
It was just
bring it
wonderful.
back. Yeah, so yeah.
Do you see how she just dropped that she read the book in a half hour?
I
It's
know.
like superhuman, that's
It's
not
a
me.
child's
I
book.
wanna know more about the photo contest, what's that gonna be about? Photo contest?
That's to be revealed.
Family and after-school activity. I have my notes here to read, so.
So you're like, don't ask me anything off my notes.
There you go.
It's not on
I
the sheet.
cannot elaborate.
Sorry.
Tell her it's a secret to be revealed next week.
I believe what we heard was if there were any questions, we needed to email.
And I will deal with that.
Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, we'll hear more about that in March, I would assume, too.
Notice Claudia
March
picks up on the
31st.
photo.
Photo,
contest.
yes.
Tell me what's gonna
I
happen.
love it.
All right, next up we have Miss Rebecca Terrell. Kindergartners, can you believe we're talking about registration?
Thinking about that.
Graduation, kindergartners, like, holy cow.
Isn't it
Yes,
crazy?
so we're full speed ahead right now, talking about our upcoming kindergarten class. So currently, right now, we have child find efforts. So one of the things that we're doing this year is sending out a postcard to all of our residents in Evergreen Park with that kindergarten information. We're really trying to get as many students prior to the first day of school as we can. So those postcards are being finalized. The postcards are gonna have a QR code where you can scan and go right to our the kindergarten landing page, which is not on the website right now, Finishing Touches, that just talks about the, new student registration for our kindergarten families. And then it also just outlines the steps as well if you don't scan the QR code. So visit d124.org, click under the Parents tab, new kindergarten registration. Within that, we're also have letters that we've generated to our pre-K or early childhood students that will be distributed. Those students are not considered new, they're considered returning, so it's a little bit different. So we wanna make sure that our families understand specifically what they'll be asked to do during that registration process, which is March 13th to August 14th. It will be open, and Elizabeth Lopez will be very busy with the online registration process and meeting with families, completing that residency process. So once that's done, we do have some screening dates scheduled at our schools. So Tuesday, April 25th, we're going to have screenings at Southwest and Northwest, and then Friday, April 28th at Southeast and Northeast. So we're kind of finalizing all of the, procedures and steps. Typically, once all the registration is completed, Elizabeth sends each individual building a list of the students, their students with names, contacts, and they send out screening dates and times from there. And then we also have our tentative kindergarten open house, which is May 17th. That ran pretty smooth last year. So all of the students will be notified through registration and even at the screenings. We held it from 3:30 to 4:30 right after school, and I think we had a pretty good attendance. And then our little ones in pre-K or kindergarten will get a flyer sent home too, so we don't wanna forget about those little ones either. So that's where we're at right now, full speed ahead for next year.
Planning.
Never dull.
Any questions about that?
Have we done the postcard before?
No.
I think that's
Just
brilliant.
like an administrative
Right.
brain child. Like, we need to get to every single resident, right? I'm like postcard happy, guys,
Well,
sorry.
but it can't be, like, there's no longer the I didn't know, right? So like, if, and sometimes it's not on people's radar, but getting that out there at the, with the QR code and just, we've heard so much from our teachers and, like in dirt and things like that, and onboarding these kids before they get to the first day of school, right? Like, just having as much information as possible sets them up to succeed. So, this is
Yeah,
awesome.
so we're hoping that brings a little bit more. I feel like we've had a lot of parents reach out
Good.
already about kindergarten, so.
We're gonna watch kindergarten numbers closely,
Yes.
right, Mrs. Berry?
Right.
Nodding. Okay.
Yes.
She's hoping to have 3 kindergarten classes next year.
I don't think she is. She's
I
got-
don't have an office.
I don't know where we're gonna put that, but, yes, so.
Right, thank you so much, Ms. Terrell.
Thank you.
All right, I am so excited to introduce our Director of Food Service, Miss Julie Hemry. I was like, Julie, can you do a report? She said, sure I can.
I bet she didn't say that.
She did,
I know,
she
right?
did.
What did I say?
Keep saying you didn't wanna do a report. I said, she was ready.
Yeah, she's right.
We're glad you're here.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to start by thanking everyone who had a part in my hiring for this position. I appreciate it. It seems to be working out pretty good. And I enjoy doing what I'm doing right now. As we all know, at the beginning of the school year, it was a bit hectic with everyone working as a team and filling the director's position. I do believe things have quieted down a bit. From when we were doing with the pandemic, how we had to have everything in the coolers and we had to package everything up. We are now doing it like we used to do it with everything open where the kids can grab their own stuff. And I think it's a lot easier for the kids to actually see what they're grabbing instead of just taking what's in a bag.
Right,
I think the kids enjoy that a lot better. We are now offering different choices in the outside schools. We have a hot and a cold option. And at Central Middle School, we brought back the salads and the wraps so that they have more of a variety of things to choose from.
There's that plant-based
I
option.
know, we talked about that.
Yeah, we do still have challenges with getting produce or product from our vendors. So with that, I'm trying to bring in different types of menu items. We've tried Salisbury steak, we've tried mini hamburgers, homemade tacos, steak fajitas, and it seems to be working a little bit better. Our numbers from October to January have increased from anywhere from 7 to 14%.
wow.
Well, when you can make it from scratch in the kitchen, there's a different quality versus heat and eat,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, and there's the numbers from each school from October to January. As of Tuesday, I would like to let the staff know that we are bringing back staff lunches. And if you have any questions, you can again.
Reaction.
Angela?
Yeah.
Email Angela.
Poor
Angela.
I will be sending out an email tomorrow, I believe, to each of the secretaries to let them know that it's coming back. So,
Yay.
trying to make everything back to
So
normal.
Julie told me last week, and I was like, apparently this is a big deal around here.
It is
I'm
a
like,
huge
you can
deal.
announce this at the board meeting. I'm like, I had no
Yeah, it's a big-
idea.
Yeah. Well,
If that's what makes people happy, right?
It's a
Yeah.
good thing to bring
That's
this back.
awesome.
Yes, that is a big thing, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
we are, we still need one more person in the kitchen, but with the people that we've hired, these last 2 people that we've hired, they fit really well in the kitchen.
Good.
And they are parents of kids that have gone through District
nice.
124,
Yeah,
and they
that's
still
awesome.
have kids in District 124, so
That's
They're
awesome.
So
committed.
does that make
they're
you fully
familiar with things and they want their kids.
And they're
to-
committed, right, they
Right.
wanna see our food service.
They do,
Exactly.
they do.
Does that make you fully staffed now then?
We're short one,
Just
but,
one?
yeah,
Okay.
I think those 2.
Much better than what we were though.
Oh, yeah. Much better. And I'm finally in the office, able to do things, I don't have to cook anymore, so.
Yeah, so my other question too, in regards to the new things that you're trying for the menu,
Yes.
how do you determine? Like, do you just make it and then you kind of just see what goes in the
See what-
trash?
Yes,
Okay.
but we kinda make it, we kinda put a low number, since we have different varieties of things, I'll put on something that they do enjoy. So we won't make as much as this, of the new stuff as, and then we'll see how that goes from
Right.
there.
So, I've seen other school districts do this really well, is they'll do like a taste, if you will. Like, they might come up with 3 new recipes based on the required
Right.
things that come from the state. And then they'll put out, you know, just like the little cups.
Right.
And it might be like broccoli with a little cheese
Right,
or a little, like you said, a little slider or something. And then they let the kids sample it and vote on what would be a new menu item.
Gotcha. I
And
kinda
then that way you
did,
kind of get buy-in.
yeah, I kinda did do that with the piece of calzones the other day. I had a couple kids come up and ask them to try, and they said, yeah. So I did have it on the menu last Thursday, and it seemed to go over
Great.
pretty good.
Yeah.
But with something like that, with trying, it's kinda hard to pick and choose what kids come up, because they're like, well, why didn't I get picked, or why didn't I get picked to come up and taste it? So
Sure.
in order to do something like that, we'd have to go to like an advisory or into a classroom so that the other kids don't know what's going on.
Right.
Yeah. It's like a-
So board members would be guinea pigs to taste.
I
Just
bought new
saying.
cookies. Put, macadamia cookies in the mix here.
Perfect.
Good job.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you in the role. You're a great fit.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
You just made everyone's night. Board meeting over.
Yeah.
Staff lunch is back.
I know, I said, like, there's
cookies in there, let's go.
Fastest meeting ever to get
Yeah.
cookies.
All right, so I'm Mr. Eric Grossi tonight. Please
Wow.
take it easy on me.
What do your staff have Super Bowl hangovers?
I swear.
I've seen them.
Yes.
Oh, yep, since the Super Bowl, so no.
Okay, so our monthly financial report, so for statement of revenues, our total revenues went up around 7 million over the course of the last month. That is mainly due to an increase of $5.3 million in our past month in tax revenues that Eric has been speaking about. Our statement of expenditure, there were no unique expenditures this month, and the main expenditures in January were salaries and benefits. And when Eric and I were going over this together, I said, Eric, I have a fun question for you. I am curious, how much money do we roughly spend in a month? And on average, we spend $2.2 million a month in overall expenditures. So this is what happens when your superintendent does your report, you get more fun facts. Our fund balance report. So you'll notice our education account is really what has shifted up to 7 million, and that's again due to an increase in revenues from our last month that is directly tied to tax increases. And that is all I have for that.
And that'll be the end of the
Email
presentation.
Anything else in your notes?
Yes.
Email
Email.
Angela for
Email
any
Angela for
questions.
any further
Yes.
clarification.
The one other thing too is transportation. You'll notice we had $100,000 in special education transportation reimbursements. Yes. Okay, so we do have our auditor here tonight, Mr. Don Shaw, and he is going to go over our audit rescore. Drum roll please, right Don?
Right, this is big.
I'm so excited for this moment.
Welcome, thank you.
Yeah, never heard someone say they're excited to go through an audit, but thank you.
I am, I'm very excited.
Appreciate it.
Eric and I have been working very hard on this, so I'm
Yes,
ready.
yes. So speaking of Mr. Grossi, I know he's not here today, but I wanted to thank him and the entire team for all their efforts in making this a successful audit year. Without their help, this wouldn't be possible, so please send my thank you to him. First, you can go through the annual financial report with you, which is the thicker of the packets you received. And if you turn to page 1, you'll find our water bucket name and letterhead. This is our independent audit report in which we're provided a clean, unmodified opinion. It's the highest opinion you may receive. Basically states that we found No issues with internal controls or the numbers as they're presented. If you turn about 3 more pages, you will run into the management discussion and analysis. This really provides a summary of how the year performed in narrative form. So if you have questions on fluctuations from year to year or what the numbers truly mean, this is where you'd want to go to find those answers. I always tell people if you're gonna read only one thing of this whole thing, make sure you read this section. There's a lot of good information. Your individual fund financial statements will begin on page 18. In that far right column towards the bottom of page 18, you'll see that the total ending fund balance for the district as a whole was at $16.1 million. 42% or $6.8 million is related to your general fund. That's gonna be your main operating fund. It's made up of your education, operations and maintenance, tort, and working cash funds. To see how that fund performed in the current year, we could skip ahead to your income statement, which is on page 20. Towards the bottom of page 20, you'll notice that the general fund did increase about $2 million. This is primarily due to your expenditures being below budget in the current year, as well as your.
Everyone hear that?
Eric needed to hear that.
Yeah,
Can you
should-
repeat
I should
that for
pause there,
everyone?
sorry.
Is he watching? All of a sudden, Dr. Orland's like, yes.
I'm gonna make Eric rewatch. Can you repeat that for everyone?
Moment 42,
Yeah.
minute 42.
Your expenditures were below budget the current year.
Yay.
In addition to your expenditures being below budget, what also went into that is the debt issuance of about $5 million. And that was kind of offset by a transfer out to your capital projects fund. The notes of financial statement will begin on page 22. The notes really provide further detail into how we came up with the figures that we did with supporting schedules. Within there, you're gonna find your capital asset and your long-term debt schedules. I'm not gonna go through all the notes with you tonight, so I'm gonna have you skip ahead all the way to page 81. That's usually where I get the clapping and applause. So page 81 is the start of your budgetary information. So if you wanna see how a specific fund performed based on the budget, this is where you'd go to find those comparisons. Does anyone have any questions on the financial statements before moving on?
So we got more evidence-based funding than we thought.
No.
Budget was 3.1 and actual was 4.9.
I think that was in total from both ESER 2 and ESER 3,
Ah, gotcha.
but I can double check.
No, that's,
Yeah, your ESSERs are actually down below.
Okay.
I'm trying to find it here. It might be kind of hidden in there.
Kim was specifically asking about evidence-based funding. Was that due to the property tax relief grant?
So I can't speak for
Okay.
certain how that all happened. We usually just get the report directly from
Sure.
ISB. They split it out, I believe, based on the students. There's usually a percentage that goes into that calculation. I can't speak to exactly how that's all
No,
calculated.
that's okay.
no, that's
We
all right.
can follow up with Eric.
Send an email to.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, we also provided a separate document, the management letter. Real quick, you may see 2 current year recommendations. The second one is actually a repeat, so I apologize. You can skip that capital asset policy. That was a recommendation from last year. So the only current year recommendation we have is in regards to GASB 96, which we'll work with Eric and the team on that implementation next year. That's looking at your vendor subscriptions, and now we're gonna call it a intangible asset that's now gonna go on the government-wide financials. we'll work with Eric and the team on that.
Great. So what was our overall score?
So,
Did it twice.
caught me off guard, I don't have the SBAFR in front of me.
Oh, I have it.
Who would like to
Our
read it
overall
aloud?
score, our financial profile score from last school year was a 3.55. We are now at a 3.8. Our revenues, these are now my, I will tell everyone, these are my Eric notes. Revenues went from 27.3 million to 29.6 million, and we ran an excess budget of 2.25 million.
That's excellent.
Yay, star,
Improvements.
star.
That's some great gains in our standings, 3.5 to 3.8, that's amazing.
Yes, I'm super excited. And I thank my teachers and administrative team because it was definitely a team effort.
Yes. All right, any other questions?
Is that a trend that we're expecting to continue, or is there something that would prohibit it from being sustainable?
I mean, I think definitely we still need to work with the number of days of cash on hand. We've definitely increased. It was at 99 days of cash on hand to 115. I think that gives us about 4 months of reserves on hand. I think as a board, your board policy is at 6 months, and that's something we should always strive to be at. But in terms of looking at overall needs of kids, we wanna make sure that we're spending aligning to what our students need and our teachers need, and making sure that we're doing that appropriately. And lining our budget with our goals, and sometimes it's hard to say no, but if our budget doesn't allow us to do that, then we have to make a commitment to really aligning our goals to our action, and then making sure we hold our budget accountable to that.
So that is a, I'm not sure.
I
Well, no, I mean, I
have
feel
every
like
intention of.
3.5 to 3.8, just our financial standings alone,
Yes.
that's great. We should be up at 3.9, and we are certainly headed towards that
Yeah.
by increasing our, I mean, we've already went from 99 days to 100, I mean,
And making sure it's stable, for sure.
Yeah. But my thing is, it may not continue to go down because, as you stated, if there's a need for us to then spend more to align with the goals, it may not be a trend that continues to go down. That's my point. Like,
Yeah, sure.
we're celebrating that there was a deficit, but it may not continue.
no,
And
we're
I don't
not
want the
celebrating a
community
deficit, we're
to be confused
no.
as to why we're spending more than what we did last year. So
We're
I
not
just needed the
celebrating a
clarification.
deficit, we're celebrating the fact that we have
Not
that
a
we've-
deficit, but that we reduced spending.
We came in
2 million above, right,
and we
Yeah.
made 2 million more in revenue.
right.
So the whole point of a budget too, though, is to adjust that, like, that's great and knowing, right? Always knowing what we know.
Well, our plan last year was to be able to start saving and that we needed to increase our long-term savings.
And
So
we
the
did.
fact is that,
Because you needed to.
right, the fact that now we also have that, the taxpayer, what is it, the
Property tax relief.
property
right?
tax relief, we should see more money that is being able to be
Exactly.
saved. Not necessarily spending less, just the fact that we're getting that property relief will also help,
Increased revenue from that.
increase our revenue.
Great.
Awesome.
All right,
Thank you so
Well,
much,
thank you.
Don. I appreciate it.
enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you,
Thank
you
you.
gave us good news, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's great,
Thanks for being thorough.
yes. Okay.
Oh, and we did have 2 FOIAs over the past month that we received, and both of these FOIAs have been completed. Okay, public comments?
Great. Thank you very much. Oh, excellent. Okay, so we are up to public comments. I just have something to read before we go there. I do have at least one person addressing the board. So a few reminders specifically about the logistics for public comments. And as is posted on our agenda publicly for every meeting, to respect all of our stakeholders, our commenters, our board, our public, we adhere very closely to the 3-minute limit for comments for everyone. We will set a timer that's visible and expect everyone to respect their 3 minutes. In addition, we do not respond to public comments at board meetings, but we do absolutely hear them and we respect and listen to and take into account the community concerns. And if there's a specific question that comes up in the public comments that we can respond to, we will do so within the next day or two. So, if not a board member, but the appropriate person for that. So I have a Meg Lara to speak to us. Welcome, thank you.
Welcome. My question was, what is the plan for getting rid of the mobiles? Like, do you guys have a plan? Are you setting money aside? Are we buying a new building? Are we extending the buildings that we already have? Are we fundraising? How much would that cost? Just, that's my real question, because I know they've been around for a long time. And I just wanna know, like, how are we planning? Are we saying, I hope they're not there next year, but what are we doing to make sure that they're not there next year, is my question. So,
It's a great question.
It is a great question. I'm smiling because we asked the same. So, we will follow up. Again, we're not prepared really to answer that at a board meeting. But it's a question we are prepared to respond to, so
Okay.
fear not. Thank you, I appreciate that. Was there more?
No, that was it.
All right.
Thank you.
I harp so quietly, or so hard on the 3 minutes, and I appreciate that. So we will follow up. I have your phone number. Is that the best way to reach you then?
You could probably email me.
I have Meg's email.
Excellent. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
And ladies, you're doing such a great job on Spanish Club, everyone.
Oh,
going
that's
so
great.
Yeah. She left me like, she looks familiar. She runs Spanish Club.
Okay, oh, that's great.
It's going great. I've heard nothing but positive things.
Thank you again. I appreciate that. Great. Board reports. January, Arrow Governing Board. Are you ready?
Sure,
Thanks.
absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, the governing board met on January 23rd, and the main item on the agenda that was the approval of the bid, which I think I reported on last month that we anticipated the approval of this. But the approval of the bid in the amount of $250,000 and $220,000 for Revis High School to purchase the Arrow property. So that is confirmed. It was approved by both the governing and the executive board. So there was a board resolution to authorize the transfer of the property. So that is underway, and it's good news because we're worried about that property, and now it will go into the hands of a cooperative district that can make good use of the property as a school district. So we also, so this was after the actual meeting, but on February 6th, Dr. Ganell was very pleased to announce to the boards that he received the official notice of the state award, and it was officially conferred the $25 million that pays for this project. So that was, of course, anticipated, and he had been assured that it would happen. But making it official was a big relief, I believe. So it was very pleased to have that happen. And then we met again on February 22nd, and that was mainly to approve a landscaping bid. So we get to see these fantastic videos of the construction site, and I mean, truly, everything is going incredibly well, but the fact that it's coming down to landscaping and talking about like putting in fixtures, and so things are moving along quite well. There's been a couple. Well, it's anticipated, you know what, it's gonna be in September. It's not the exact things, Mary, yeah, September is the date. There's a slight delay, but I think right after Labor Day. Yeah, so in the fall is exactly as was anticipated, so it won't be like exactly when we start school, but it'll be a few weeks after that. So that pretty much sums up everything, unless you have anything to add from the executive board.
We're definitely into like next year planning and making sure that teachers are included and that everyone has the information that they need, and really making it one school environment. And I think that's important that everyone sees that it is one school environment going into a beautiful, brand new building for our students.
I haven't
How are
driven
they
by.
doing with staffing?
We're doing really well with staffing,
Mhm.
even with filling paraprofessionals,
Yeah, I mean, I think they still have paraprofessional openings, but
much better than what
yeah,
it was though.
but
Oh,
it's
that's good.
increased, they're doing well.
Yeah.
Thank you. District review team. Denise Jones and I were there at our most recent DIRT meeting was Monday, January 28th. There were 7 issues on the agenda, which is a higher number than the last few months, but many of the issues had been addressed and resolved at the building level by the time our DIRT meeting happened. To avoid this confusion going forward, there was a review of BERT and DIRT. So building review and district review team procedures. There are many issues that can only be resolved at a building level and others that should obviously be discussed at a district level. So the agenda items included questions about, and this is not in order, mid-morning brain breaks. I love that idea, if a teacher sees fit. Adequate plan time for specials teachers at the middle school, specifics about standardized testing procedures, carpet removal at the middle school, and sending home midterm grades digitally from all buildings. So that's completely reasonable. There were 3 issues that had longer discussions, and first of all, the first one was technology care and fees associated with replacement. So the great, take home versus keep at school debate for our students regarding their devices, and then assigning and actually collecting replacement fees. A review, the next step would be a review will be done and this conversation will continue. The second longer discussion issue was administrator coverage at all 5 buildings if a principal was called away. And the committee had a very positive conversation about this. Members offered recommendations to adjust the AP's schedule if necessary to ensure that there's an admin in each building at all times. And then finally, Dr. Woodland presented the behavioral intervention plan. Dr. Woodland shared that she, Becky Terrell, and the principal team have been working on a behavior intervention plan. I wrote the notes. You'd think I'd be able to read the notes, sorry about that. So copies of the draft, and it was a draft only, meaning there's still a conversation to be had about it, but it was shared out. It was a response to student behavior, a comprehensive approach to tiered intervention was distributed, reviewed by the representatives that were there. It was another lengthy discussion. DIRT is longer than it used to be,
Sorry, Colleen.
because it's good, it's good work. It's digging deep and we're really getting to things and getting through things, so it's great. And everybody has an opportunity to share feedback. Dr. Woodland stated at the meeting that the next step was to share the document with the social work team, which happened last week. And that took place last Wednesday during PLC time, went very well. And she added that the completed document would be a cohesive district document for all to follow. So obviously more information will soon be shared with staff, weekly newsletters, to all of us, I'm sure. And then after the review, all the DIRT members expressed appreciation towards everyone who was doing the hard work on that specifically, but also in general and for taking this matter so seriously. So our next DIRT meeting will be Monday, February 27th. I believe we will be discussing
The calendar.
the calendar, capital T, capital C, at that, among other things. And I'll have more to say in March.
Yes.
So it was a good meeting, and it was a long meeting. That's okay though, it's good work.
Yes.
And
It's great
then
work.
next we have policy committee meeting review from either Claudia or
Okay,
Judy.
that's
Okay.
me.
All right.
So I love the little recap that Dr. Woodland put together. It just kind of makes our meetings go a little bit more cohesively. So there are 10 policy updates, so I'm just gonna kind of go through them quickly. The first one was from section 2.265. It's regarding the Title IX sexual harassment grievance procedures. And the policy and footnotes updated to include dating violence, domestic violence, and stalking. And the only thing that wasn't written here that I felt like was pertinent is that whomever the student confides in, whether it's the teacher or it's an aide or a sub or somebody from buildings and grounds, that they take it seriously and report it promptly. Moving on to policy number 410, fiscal and business management. This requires districts to disclose the case reserve balance and funds related to their budget during the annual levy presentation, which we're already doing. Section 120 regarding food services, that was already addressed. The National School Lunch Program to provide a plant-based school lunch option to students who request one. But because you guys are already doing such a fantastic job, it's not gonna be necessary for one individual student to be like, yeah, I don't eat meat. You guys are already providing that, so great job there. Section 4140 is in regards to waiver of student fees. So this requires districts to waive fees for students whose parents are veteran or active duty military personnel with income at or below 200% of the federal poverty line, which is not applicable to a whole lot of people, but you know what? I applaud them for their efforts.
I agree, yes.
Policy number 520 is in regards to workplace harassment being prohibited. And it includes defining race to include traits associated with, not limited to, but hair texture, protective hairstyles such as braid, locks, and twists. We've seen a lot of this happening in the media the last couple of years where somebody thinks that someone's hairstyle is not appropriate for school or to play sports, so they decide to cut it off. Yeah, we're not doing that.
No. No.
Policy number 5220 is in regards to substitute teachers. So this was, substitute teachers are not to exceed 120 days rather than 90. So previously, we could have a substitute for up to 90 days in a calendar year. Now that's been extended to 120, and we appreciate that because we often need help, and having that extra time is great for our schools. Policy number 5250 requires districts to return sick leaves used for fully vaccinated teachers for qualifying COVID events. So, yeah, everybody appreciates being able to get that sick time back if they are fully vaccinated and catch COVID. Hopefully the COVID is being reduced through not just vaccination, but your regular immunity from having already had it. There's a lot of us that have already had it. I've never been confirmed, but I'm suspicious. Policy 5280 in regards to duties and qualification permits unlicensed personnel to supervise school activities connected to the academic program when the governor has declared a disaster due to public health emergency. So I would like Dr. Woodland to give an example on what that would look like, so the community isn't confused that we're gonna be.
What example did I give you in policy?
You use that
Para
after
running
school.
after
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
like some
para running
homework,
after school
homework,
homework
like
help,
that, yeah.
yes. Thanks, Judy.
Yeah.
I had an example from policy. So yes, it would be like, for example, a non-certified unlicensed personnel, a paraprofessional could run an after-school activity during a disaster declaration. So if you recall, the governor has released that, so we're not currently under that, but they could supervise an after-school activity.
So if the governor said this is a disaster area or a disaster.
And if you recall, this was directly tied to, we had so many like staff shortages that they were trying to accommodate for what those staff shortages would look like.
Yeah, I just wanted you to clarify, because I don't want parents thinking that we could drag somebody in off the
No,
street
that's a
to
great
teach a
point.
science
No,
class.
yeah, for
Because
sure.
it was a disaster.
Yeah.
this is very,
Yes.
Please clarify.
Two more, we're almost done, home stretch. Policy 620 is in regards to the school calendar and day, and it requires districts to pay employees and contractors for e-learning days, which we're already doing.
No, what did you
Check.
else?
And lastly, policy.
Like, why would they have to even say that? If they're doing e-learning, why, I mean,
It's a school day.
yeah, it's a school day.
No, there were districts who were I would say more specifically at-will employees who were opting to not pay them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Not us, no.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that.
Okay, last but not least, policy 7190 is in regards to student behavior. And the state is moving away, and so Dr. Woodland wanted to continue to reiterate the plan to not have any type of isolated timeouts or physical restraints. And that was all of the policy updates that we wanted to speak to tonight.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, we are up to our action items on our agenda. So the first item is consent agenda item is A. Number 1 is to approve monthly transaction reports for January of 2023. Number 2 is to approve the fund balance reports for January of 2023. Number 3 is to approve expenditure report and projected payroll report for February of 2023. Number 4 is to approve the board minutes from the regular board meeting of January 18th, 2023. Number 5 is to approve the closed session minutes from the regular meeting of January 18th, 2023. Number 6 is to approve destruction of closed session tapes from October of 2018. Number 7 is to approve the personnel recommendations as listed on our agenda with additions and FMLA leave, a resignation with intent to retire, and another resignation, non-school or student position. So if, if I could please have a first motion to accept consent agenda item A as listed.
I'll make the motion.
Great, and a second?
I'll second.
And a roll call.
Michael Allmiller?
I'm second.
It's okay.
Yay.
Rachel Merrickwin?
Yes.
Denise Jones?
Yes.
Judy Rayson?
Yes.
Kim Leonard, yes. Claudia Parker? Colleen Clemzak?
Yes.
Did I throw you off, Michael?
Just a bit.
I know, I'm sorry.
But she kept me on the straight and narrow because I was like, wait, are we?
Then I
at the-
started looking
because-
at her.
Well, no, and then you're not, I'm like, yes, of course, but so, we got this, no
I
problem.
am sad to see Mrs. Walsh leave.
Oh, I know.
The
But,
kids both
like-
had her, they love her so much.
Like they deserve
Yes.
everything that we can,
No
yeah.
worries, she'll come back and sub, they all do.
There you go. I love that. So action item B is to approve the first reading of revised board policies as listed on the agenda, minus, actually, it is on the adjusted agenda that's here with us.
Okay,
But,
good, 'cause
yeah, so
I just was quiet, I was like.
6,300 and 6,310. So approving the first reading of those board policies listed minus 630 and 6,310, a first, please.
First.
Thank you. And a second.
I'll second.
And a roll call.
I'm gonna let Michael go again.
I know,
Michael
right?
Allmiller?
Yay.
Judy Rayson?
Yes.
Rachel Merrickwin?
Yes.
Denise Jones? Kim Leonard, yes. Claudia Parker?
Yes.
Colleen Clemzak?
Yes.
Motion is passed.
Excellent. And then item C is to approve the second reading of and adoption of the revised board policies as listed on the agenda. If I could have a first, please.
Why not?
Michael, and a second.
I'll make the second.
Great, and a roll call.
3 times the charm.
Yay.
Kim Leonard, yes. Denise Jones?
Yes.
Judy Rayson?
Yes.
Rachel Merrickwin?
Yes.
Claudia Parker? And Colleen Clemzak.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
Excellent. All right. So we will now recess to closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district or legal counsel, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee or legal counsel to determine its validity.
I'll make the first motion.
Thank you. And a second?
Go.
Your name again, sir? What was that?
All right, Michael Miller,
Yay.
Kim Leonard, yes. Denise Jones.
Yes.
Colleen Climsack,
Yes.
Claudia Parker,
Yes.
Judy Rayson,
Yes.
Rachel Merrickwin.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
Excellent.
I
We-
really threw you off.
I know, right? We will be taking action after we return to open session, but we do not need to continue with the recording, and you're all released on your own recognizance, so. Okay, thank you so much.